Hypertension, a major issue in the black community. It is one that we've had to deal with for quite some time. Some call hypertension the silent killer. A prevalent medical condition that affects us. According to the CDC, 76 million people suffer from hypertension. 35% are African American. 8% of hypertension cases go undiagnosed. Joining us from Atlanta to discuss hypertension symptoms and prevention is family physician Dr. Joe Saulsbury. So Joe, okay, for folks out there, what exactly is hypertension?
Hypertension is elevated blood pressure, Roland. Anything greater than 140/90. Let me give you a brief definition. This top number is systole. That's when the heart is contracting. The bottom number is diastole. That means that the heart is relaxing. And so the pressure gradient that is generated with the top number and the bottom number, anything greater than 140/90 is considered hypertension. Anything greater than 120 to 139 is called prehypertension. Anything greater from 80 to 89 is called prehypertension. So in the beginning, we want to make sure that everybody understands those definitions. But hypertension is simply elevated blood pressure greater than 140/90.
Scott Bolden, you have a question, go ahead.
I guess, you know, when I get diagnosed, I have elevated blood pressure from time to time, and my doctor says, well, maybe you're nervous about the exam, or maybe you're under some stress. I take it there is a difference between that examination I just described and hypertension, being diagnosed with hypertension.
Correct. There's a condition called white coat syndrome that's been around for a number of years, where patients come into the doctor's office and they're a little nervous, obviously, and their blood pressures can vary, particularly the top number and the bottom number. And what we do 2 consecutive blood pressure measurements in our office a week apart. Once we do those 2 measurements, if they are greater than 140/90, you do have a definition of high blood pressure.
Doc, what can folks do to lower their blood pressure so they're not actually getting hypertension?
Okay.
Great question, Roland. A number of factors. Number one, obesity is obviously one of the factors that leads to high blood pressure. So definitely losing weight, inactivity, no physical activity, exercise, aerobic exercise, at least 30 to 50 minutes, 2 or 3 times a week. Also, I won't be able to leave the show without talking about the DASH diet, dietary approaches to stop hypertension. This is a diet, Roland, that focuses on people eating foods like vegetables, fruits, low-fat dairy products, things along the lines of whole grains, nuts, fish. These food groups have a lot of potassium, and they have very little sodium. The other thing is to make sure we restrict sodium, because sodium is one of the killers that we as people of color put on our food every day.
About 45 seconds left. Avis Jones-DeWeaver, what's your question?
Yeah, so you've touched on the impact of diet on hypertension. I'm also wondering about the impact of our daily stressors, particularly as African Americans negotiating, quite frankly, racism and socioeconomic challenges. You know, how do you address those issues in terms of relating stress to this issue of hypertension? What can you do to solve that conundrum?
Well, you know, stress is definitely a component, but I don't want anyone to leave here thinking that stress is one of the principal causes. I think, you know, you have, exercises and things of trying to relaxation techniques, things along the lines of yoga. Again, exercise increases endorphins in our brains, which helps us relax as well. I would start with those simple things right there to sort of help in terms of reducing stress.
All right. Well, I'll tell you right now, Doc, I've always said, if you want to lower your blood pressure, just cuss folks out. That way you ain't keeping nothing in. Dr. Saulsbury, we appreciate it. Thanks a lot.
Okay, thank you.
A peaceful protest turned deadly. 37-year-old black man was shot and killed by Baton Rouge police. His hands are in the air, and you still get shot by the cops.
Oh my God, please don't tell me he's dead.
We're not gonna let hate define us.
Race is a big part of this.
If truly all lives matter, then all lives need to matter equally. What we require is action. What we require is accountability. We understand that black lives do matter, and we will keep focused on this issue.
NewsOne Now, every weekday morning at 7 on TV1.